So that's good. That's good. I got it on. Okay, let's see. Alright. So pop that up. Alright, just wait for just a minute for everybody to get in here. Nova Scotia. Right on. Let's see. What's up, Nancy? What's up, Becky? Can you guys, how's the volume and everything? You guys, put a 1 in the chat. What's up, Lisa? Happy New Year. Let's make sure my audio's okay here. Sound 1, awesome. What's up, Pippi? Fortunately, I am still under the weather a little bit, so I apologize. I don't know why. I felt pretty good yesterday, and then this morning I woke up and I'm like, oh my gosh. I feel like I got another fever again. Oh, you're from Colorado. Right on. Just wait one more minute here, and then we'll start talking about this guy, and then we'll talk about Betty White a little bit too. I can't believe she passed away today. Or was it last night? Alright, so everybody can hear me good? What's up, D. Johnson? Alright. What's up, Mustang? Alright, so first we'll start off with a recent missing. So here we got Trace Edward Ayers. He's 14 years old. Last seen leaving Spokane, Washington, 3 p.m. That was 2 days ago. Ditched all electronics to avoid tracking. Oh, so he's a runaway. Maybe heading to Texas. So he's from Spokane, Washington. That's a long ways. So last seen wearing a jean jacket, Pickle Rick pajama pants, and his cowboy boots. Lone says too sad. She passed at about 9:30 California time. Oh, today? Oh, wow. Let's take a look. Yeah, there she is. Oh, man, that's so terrible. I love Betty White. She was so funny. At age 99, I believe. My dogs sleep under my bed. There you go. Yeah, I used to stuff everything under my bed. So I couldn't get under there. I thought I'd honor her with this picture. I'm not sure how old she is here, but... I know! Oh my gosh. She was so funny. I even actually watched the Golden Girls, because back then we didn't have Netflix and stuff, so... Yeah, she's... Yeah, she was funny. And then she would, I remember the last few times I watched her, she was on some of those roasts. I don't know if you ever guys watch any, like, the roasts of, like, Mike Tyson and stuff. She was on a couple of those. And she's always been so funny. That's crazy. So, anyway, let me see how many people we got in here, and then we'll start the show. All right, sweet. Okay. So, oh, I know I got some other news too with Cassie Sheets. I don't know if you guys heard. Let me jump over to this real quick. So she sadly went missing in March of this year, and they found her remains in the national forest. It says believed to be Cassie, but I'm pretty sure. Oh. So here's the statement. So 2 days ago on Wednesday, Sergeant Teeter was led to human skeleton remains located deep in the national forest in northern creek area of the Mongolia National Forest. The remains were discovered by hunters and were undisturbed. Based on... Sorry, there's people talking outside the hallway. They're pretty loud. Based on items located at the scene, it was believed that skeleton remains are those of Cassie Sheets, who was reported missing, March 11th, from the Spruce Knob area. So, what's up, guys? Long Island, right on. So, sadly, her remains are found. I don't know if it was foul play involved or not. Take a little peek here and see, because I know I featured Cassie Sheets on my channel earlier on. Found. So this was 3 hours ago. Let's take a look here. Oh yeah, this is what I had. So, remains found in the forest of Cassie Sheets, reported missing in March. She was separated from her 2 male companions during a hiking trip in Spruce Knob. Search parties had scoured the area looking for Sheets over the past 9 months. Let's see. Troopers were led to the remains. Based on the items located, troopers believe the remains to be those of Cassie. Remains have still not positively been identified. However, the remains have been sent to the examiner's office. So it doesn't say if there's foul play. Maybe she just got lost up in there and couldn't make her way back. Sadly, at the age 24. Says my stream is not... How's the stream? Is the stream alright, guys? You guys put a 1 in the chat. 1 in the chat if the stream's going okay. Right on, Gary. Oh, thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Amy. Okay, everything good? Okay, all right, because it was kind of saying all right, awesome. All right, so where should we start first? Should we start with the letter? Okay, good deal. All right, so before I start, now, with this case being like 25 years old now, there's a lot of us that are going to probably be on two sides of the fences. So let's just try to be respectful because, my theory lines with the Burke theory. But I understand if other people are on the other side of the fence. But let's just try to be respectful in the comments because, this isn't like a new case where, people are going to be on the fence. I feel like whatever the side of the fence you're on, you're kind of firmly standing there because, there just hasn't been anything for so many years that... So I can understand if people have different theories. Like I said, mine, I'm going to touch on both sides, to be fair. But mainly I'm going to be focusing on the theory of Burke. So here is the ransom letter. And the first thing that kind of sticks out to me is just kind of how sloppy it is. It almost looks like a kid wrote this. I don't know. Well, let me know what you guys think. I mean, just kind of looking at it from... I wish we could look at the original. I mean, this is a photocopy. Doesn't have the lines through it. But, to me, just looking at it, it clearly looks like, almost a child's handwriting. Margaret says, I believe cop's son. Okay. So, for those who that may not know, let me go back here. So, because I believe Patsy wrote this, and I'll go on. I'm going to read this, and this is what I think she did. So, police have never been able to absolutely independently confirm that Patsy Ramsey was ambidextrous, which means left and right hand. So we decided, because this case is so old, we're trying consistently to uncover new evidence. We went to witnesses everywhere in Boulder, Parkinsburg, West Virginia, and we talked to people from her school days, teachers, etc. And we found a witness, a high school teacher who taught Patsy in the 70s, who said very simply and a matter of factly, she is ambidextrous. She was as a child, she is now. We went to Linda Hoffman, the housekeeper, and when we asked her this, she said, oh yeah, she said, Patsy told me she was ambidextrous. I've seen her brush her hair with her left hand. I've seen her paint with her left hand. That's pretty good, paint. I once saw her work on a science project with Burke, JonBenet's brother, where she wrote numbers and letters with her left hand. She is absolutely ambidextrous. So, I think that she most likely wrote this with her left hand. And then I was going to do, maybe I'll do it another day. I was going to write it out with you guys and stuff, but because I'm not feeling good, I'm going to do that another day. But, so the thing, I'm going to read some of it. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to read this first part, and just because this entire letter just kind of contradicts itself. So it says, listen carefully. We are a group of individuals that represent a small foreign faction. We respect your business. Notice business is spelled with two S's, so they couldn't spell business right. But not the country that it serves. At this time, we have your daughter in our possession. And then they spelled possession wrong. They put the S in the wrong spot. She is safe and unharmed. You must follow our instructions to the letter. You will withdraw $118,000 from your account. So this is the problem I have with the $118,000. Now, if you guys saw my video, this was the same as what John Ramsey received. Now, I've heard conflicting reports that it wasn't actually a bonus; it was just something he had made. But either way, he made $118,223 to be exact. There were some pay stubs that are laying around. So, Margaret says 3 sets of experts checked her writing and cleared her 1%. She did it, public knowledge. Yeah, I understand I understand that, Margaret, and I like I said, I feel like she did this with her left hand. Now, I know that they examined her left and right hand, and I'll kind of go into both. Oh, okay, Chris. So the next time I go live, I'm gonna try the normal latency, but when I do low latency, it won't let me do closed captions live. I'm sorry, Chris. So the next time I'll try it, because the last time I tried to do a normal latency, I lost the stream. So I apologize, Chris. But I'll see if I can fix that next time and try. So these are the things that stuck out with me that where really make me think that this is also Patsy, is the way that she what she does with her T's. Notice how the T's are connected to the E's. T's to the E. She's almost all the T's, not all of them, but most of these T's connect to the R. I think that's very unique. I mean, you could pretty much, I mean, some of these T's aren't, but T to the A. What's up, Jody? So if we look back, let's see, where is her example? So here's the example. On the left is her handwriting. As you can see, she connects her T's to her O's. So here's 2 examples of her T's right here. So she connects them. No, I don't think a child wrote that, but I think it looks like a child's handwriting. I think that was kind of on purpose to look ugly. But here's the thing that stands out. Here's her A's. She's got a very unique A. But what's interesting is notice how she switches them in this sample handwriting. She does a regular A, but for more often than not, she does this almost like a 2. And notice you've got these 2's in here, which is this is the ransom letter. I thought it was kind of odd because I've always keep my A's the same. I think it's interesting to have 2 different A's. I don't know if she kind of did that on purpose, you know. Like I said, if with my theory. And then here's another 2 examples where, see, this is and, A and D. And so here's the ransom, A. But then down here is another and, but now she's got the A this way. I almost feel like she did that on purpose, in my opinion. Jody says, it feels like adult faking her writing. Let's Together is from writing for years. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. Like I said, other people have different views on it. So to go back to the note a little bit, just a couple other things to point out. I'm not going to go through it all. What's up, Sarah? So the other thing, and so here's some of those A's. I mean, I just think that's just such a unique A, like where it's almost a 2, you know. And then with the language again. So there's supposed to be a foreign faction, but now we're going to be talking about when you get home, you will put the money in a brown paper bag. So when I hear brown paper bag, I think of movies. You know, that's what you see in all these movies is like, oh, they go do a heist and they, you know, put the money in a brown paper bag. And so that's, like I said, there's a lot of things that kind of relate to Hollywood. That's how I feel about this letter, in my opinion. It's kind of like, I don't know, Hollywood. So now this is interesting. I will call you between 8 and 10 a.m. tomorrow to instruct you on the delivery. So I want to know what you guys think in the comments. If you found this letter at 5:30 in the morning, just assuming, you know, not saying if she wrote it or not, but if you guys found this letter and you read this and it says between 8 and 10 a.m. tomorrow, would you think that day at 8 or would you think the next day? So this is the day after Christmas. This is the 26th. Put 26 or 27. If you guys understand what I'm saying. If you just read this, what would your reaction be? Would you be waiting for a call that day, or would you be waiting until the 27th? Yeah, that's how I feel about it. Yeah. The next day. Right. Yeah, that's what I got. Yeah, I agree with that. Now this is where the one thing that I would agree that would kind of almost side with a different theory, but I will give it that. Yeah, because you know, and also here, and I'll go into page 2. So, or is it? It's on page. What does he talk about? We're getting rest here. Let's see. Oh yeah, so right here. So the delivery will be exhausting. So I advise you to be rested. So yeah, right there. That I think that should explain that it should be the next day. Exactly, because you know how are you supposed to get rested when they're going to be calling you in like a couple hours? But yeah, you need to go to the bank and stuff. So, so here's page 2. Now, a lot of this, I'm not going to read a lot of this, but a lot of this kind of repeats itself, I think, in here, where it just starts talking, hey, if you do something wrong, we're going to kill her. But here's those A's, and then here's those T's again. Like I said, I just think that's so unique with the T's, how she connects those. And I wish I would have found some more examples, because I know they're out there where Ramsey would connect those T's. I think that's very unique. I mean, you look throughout this, she connects her T's everywhere. T's to the E's, just about all of them. If it's not the letter before, T to the E. Here she's got the T and the A connected. But, like I said, my theory is that she wrote it. Anyway, let's see. So, but yeah, then this is where I like I said, this feels Hollywood, because we read right here, it says, if we catch you talking to a stray dog, she dies. So, you've already been writing this letter. This first page had to this had to have been taken at least 10 minutes. At least. Just this first page. I mean, you got to think about it and write it. You got all these I's. That's one thing. Look at all these I's that you've got to dot. Every little lowercase I you've got to dot. There are so many. This at least has got to be 10 minutes. So you've already spent 10 minutes that you broke into the house. This is why my theory, I just can't get behind someone breaking in, is now you've already spent at least 10, 15 minutes, and you're just barely on page 2. And now you're going to take the time to write these odd phrases like, I got to try to find it here. If we catch you talking to a stray dog, she dies. It just, for me, it doesn't add up. And then if you alert bank authorities, she dies, so this is where it starts repeating itself. If the money is in any way marked or tampered, she dies. You will be scanned for electronic devices. That's a scan for electronic devices? Like what? I mean, and if they are found, she dies. So it just repeats itself. Wendy says, I am ambidextrous. My right and left handwritings are extremely different from one another. I have to sign all my legal docs with my dominant hand, as my other looks completely different. Oh, thank you, Wendy. Very interesting. Very interesting. Chris says, the money amount, it sounds like Patsy was trying to set up one. Yes, thank you, Chris. You took, nice. I was going to go back to that. I had the same exact theory. That's what I was thinking with the money as well, with the amount. As I kind of felt like this was a kind of a plan B if things started getting kind of, they started getting looked at real heavily, the the Ramseys' parents, that they would be like, well, hey, look at this amount. This had to have been a coworker or best friend that we told. So I feel the same way, Chris. Definitely, 100%. I always felt like this was kind of for a reason why she put this, like assuming that she wrote this was kind of like a plan B. Right. I mean, to me, with this amount right here, I think this excludes literally 99% of the people just right off the bat. I mean, what are the odds? I mean, this is just such a strange amount. Margaret, I'm saying both different. Oh, you're ambidextrous, Margaret? Interesting. So, and then let's see. This is page 3. It sticks out. Yeah, and then just a few quotes. Don't try to grow a brain, John. I mean, when I heard that was kind of funny because I had watched Speed not too, because that's a quote that they use in the movie Speed with Keanu Reeves, and it just. And then, you are not the only fat cat around, so don't think about killing. Will be difficult. Don't underestimate us, John. Use that good southern common sense of yours. I mean, at this point, when you're writing this, you've already spent like nearly 25 minutes. I mean, it just... it's so hard to get behind. Oh, thank you, Nikki. Annette says, maybe it was written to look like a child's writing. Yeah, that's Yeah, I feel like it was just to me, I feel like she did it with her left hand, and she obviously now you got to think if it was Patsy, and let's just say the accident theory, what happened? They just found out that their poor child, was killed. So I mean, you can see look at the way these L's are written right here. You could tell she is like if it is her, you can see the nervousness, and just all the stuff she must have been going through. I couldn't even imagine. Yeah, Wendy, I feel the same. It's just such an odd amount. You're gonna break in and you're gonna risk it for just a measly $118,000 when he's multi-millionaire. And then don't forget. Oh, another thing. Don't forget that there was 2 practice notes. Two practice notes in the garbage bin, which I wish we could get photographs of. I would love to know how much writing was on that. Like, could you imagine if like it was like almost halfway or almost a whole page and it was all scribbled out? Like that means they would have spent at least 40, 50 minutes writing this thing. But yeah, 2 practice notes as well. I just feel like if you're going to do a ransom letter, and I forgot to, because there hasn't been many ransom letters throughout, kidnappings. You got the Lindenberg one and a few others, and they're just short. I know there's one was an email. Of course, they didn't have emails back then. Yeah, practice notes. Yeah, two practice notes. We don't know how much was written on them. I've never found out anything. If you guys know, let me know. But they did, there was 2 practice notes. You can see, yeah, so we'll go back into that in a minute. Let's see, let me go back here. Let's see, so there's the train set. We'll go over that theory. Okay, so another problem, and then, like I said, then after I go to this next part, then I'll jump over to the intruder theory a bit, so we can cover both sides, to be fair. But since I know there's a lot of ladies in the chat, I would like to know. So, Patsy, she called 911, and when the first officer French arrived, the first thing he noticed was that Patsy Ramsey was in full makeup and wearing apparently the attire that she had worn the day before. So I was looking up, what does it take for someone, an average woman to put on makeup? This says 11 minutes. What do you guys think? How long would a typical woman spend to put on makeup? And do you think because she's kind of like, in the higher end community, do you think she would spend more time? Or, I mean, I'm a guy, so I wouldn't know anything, but I'd like to know what you ladies think would be the average. You can put it in the chat, just like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. First thing I do, I guess my PJs on. I mean, do you think she just spends maybe 15 minutes? But the makeup, 30 plus? Jody says 30 plus. Grandma, her makeup would take 20 minutes. Okay. 15. Okay. Like I said, I have no idea. I would just think, someone with like her, she, is going to spend a lot of time, because they're always, they were used to always hosting parties, Christmas parties and stuff. Margaret says, I know ladies who do makeup before bed. Okay. I could see that a little bit, but then wearing the fact that but wearing the same clothes. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. If it was one or the other, yeah. Let me get a sip here. Yeah. Oh, true. Chris says, well, I know none of you would take the time to do your makeup when your child's missing. True. Very true. Wow. Good point. Very good point. Very good point. So, I was going a lot better. I'm glad we can have a normal conversation, even though. Oh, come on. I got too many things open here. Laura says, if I slept in my makeup, I'd look like I rolled out of a grave. Yeah. Sally says, Patsy seemed to look natural most of the time, so I don't think she spent too much time. Okay. Yeah, Grandma, that's what I think. She never went to bed. Yeah. So, here's an article. We'll jump over to the Intruder side a little bit here, so we can kind of go back and forth, to be fair. So, here's some of the most compelling evidence for Intruder, and then we'll go back to the Burke thing. All right. So, let's see. Is definitely one of them. That's not it. Okay. Excuse me. John and Patsy Ramsey were interviewed by the police for over 2 hours. Burke Ramsey was also interviewed within a few weeks of JonBenet's death. So, the only problem I have with this is, I don't know if you guys seen, there's not much. I mean, there's transcripts, but Patsy Ramsey, they at least, interrogated her to some degree. John Ramsey, to me, was a joke. It's, I don't know who was the original one that, sorry. I don't know who's the original one, if it was Lou. But the interview I saw, I mean, they kind of go at him for like 2 minutes, and then they're like best friends the rest of the interrogation. And I had a big problem with that. But Patsy, they definitely put some heat on her. So I will give them that. Okay, yeah, I'll go over that, Chris, here in a bit, maybe. We'll go back to that. So the existence of evidence that JonBenet had been SA is one of the strongest indicators that is the Intruder crime. As it is much more rare for a husband and wife to work together to cover up abuse only one of them committed. This evidence is inconclusive and not clear whether she was everly abused or not. No was found, and other findings is just SA cannot be ruled out. So yeah, like I said, that's a tough subject right there. If someone had forced to kill their daughter to cover up their son's attack, I don't think strangulation with a garrote would have been the way they would have come up with. It's too personal, barbaric. Agreed. I mean, that is a good point. A bloodstain on JonBenet's underwear was found to have DNA from 2 people who are not the Ramseys. Now, this is very controversial. This bloodstain. What's up, Karen? Because I've heard it's super minute, that it could have been from like a factory worker. So I've always kind of, that we'll go into that in a little bit. But I've always kind of felt like this. The DNA that they have is just kind of like a minute, that it's some kind of transfer DNA, and just kind of a simple explanation. Yeah, Dana, yeah, that is true. I have a theory on that, but I can't really talk about it because of that subject, unfortunately. So this is a thing that I wanted to cover. So an unidentified boot print was found in the room where JonBenet's body was discovered. Now, since this has actually been disproven. Let's see, the footprints. So 2 unidentified shoe prints found in the wine cellar floor. It turned out to be, let's see. Oh yeah, Burke Ramsey and Fleet White Jr. both had high-tech brand shoes. So apparently they were like high-tech brand footprints. And so those 2 have been ruled out. So, police discovered one door to the Ramsey's home was unlocked. There was also 2 basement windows that were left ajar to allow cords for Christmas lights to be plugged in from the outside. An additional basement window was broken prior to the events of JonBenet's murder and would have allowed entry into the Ramsey's home. Now, this one, I know a lot of you have seen. This, the one in particular, the one that John admitted to breaking into, because apparently they got locked out a couple of times, and so John Ramsey had to, like, break the window and then go in through there. But the biggest problem with that, going into this, is, that, we've seen the picture of the cobweb in the window, and it just, I think there would be a lot of foliage and a lot of disturbance around that area, and then especially to come back out. But the other, like I said, I'd like to know what door was unlocked. That's kind of new to me, or unless that's kind of more hearsay. But this is the biggest problem right here. Marks on JonBenet may indicate a stun gun was used on her. So when this came out, this obviously is 25 years ago. I was like, oh gosh, I'm not even sure how old I was. 96, maybe 10 years old. But the biggest problem is, we didn't know much about stun guns back then because we didn't have YouTube. So, and then, we had cops, but back then on TV, on cops, they didn't use tasers, in the show. Not like they do now. I mean, you see people getting tasered all the time. So the stun gun, actually, the theory at the time made sense, especially with those marks. But I'll go back into that when we go to the other side on why now it's like, to me, the stun gun theory is, in my opinion, atrocious, because it wouldn't knock her out. It would freak her out and, cause her to fly through the window. So, there were over 100 burglaries in the Ramsey's neighborhood months leading up to the murder. There was also dozens of registered SOs in the area. Due to JonBenet's higher profile as a child beauty pageant participant, some believe she was more at risk from a stranger abduction. Possible. There was no evidence of blood spatter found in the Ramsey home. This is interesting. I think this is probably one of the biggest. I think this is probably one of the strongest points to support the intruder theory and not the Burke theory, because it is kind of odd that there was no blood found. But this means that JonBenet was likely dead or almost dead when the wound to the head was administered. This contradicts the idea that strangulation was used as part of a cover-up after Burke lashed out and fatally struck his sister in the head. Strangulation came first. But then you've heard both ways where it's like, well, no, she got hit over the head and then she died to asphyxiation. So, I mean, unless you were doing it at the same time. Because she had... when you get strangled a lot, your blood vessels in your eyes start to like pop and stuff. And so she had like, popped blood vessels. And so that's kind of how they know that, that she was strangled. Yeah, maybe I'll go into the 911 call. Okay, so that was kind of the best arguments for the intruder theory. Go back up here. So, like I said, I've always definitely kind of had a problem with, with being hit over the head. You would think there would be a lot of blood, but, let me jump over to my thing real quick, since we were just talking about the stun gun thing. So, this is on her back. Now, this is the only photo I have, because I don't want to be showing photos of her. But I thought this was important. So they always thought that these were from stun gun marks. And that, and for the longest time, like I said, we didn't have YouTube. We didn't have videos of people getting stunned. So it did make sense at the time that a stun gun was used. But then when they came out with that documentary in 2016, and they did a reenactment, and when people get stun gunned, they don't have these red marks like this. It's more like a sunburn mark. You know, it almost looks like this. So you'd have like two reddish splotch, not these dark, pointy things here. And then when they started talking about the train set, how they had the train set down. Where was the train set? Oh, it's the other way. Apologize. So this is a model, but this is what they had in their basement. And these tracks, and I used to have these too as a kid. And some of these tracks have 2 prongs that go out. Some have 3. And some just don't have the middle one, but they got the 2 prongs. And sure enough, if you take one of those, and as you can see, this is a photo right here, but they literally match right up. And when I saw that, and they had that 2016 documentary, and I saw that like for me, with the Burke theory, it solidified it for me. It totally makes, it put everything together that I questioned. So the theory is that after they got home, Burke, JonBenet got up and she wanted to have a snack. And, we know that one of the last things that she had in her system was pineapple. And so she probably got up because they didn't eat pineapple at the Fleet's home. And so they think that she was eating a bowl of pineapple, and then Burke came down, and then they kind of got into it. And then Burke took the flashlight and smacked her over the head. It's an accident, I guess. And then the parents, freaked out. And then they think that at some point, because he wasn't sure if she was alive, so he went and grabbed the train track and like poked her with it to like see, hey, are you okay? So that's the theory that aligns with this. Oh, at the train, yeah, that could be true too. Oh, you're on the fence, Karen. Oh, most people are pretty solidified on one side or the other, but so let's see. So here's. Sorry, there's just a lot of noisy people behind me. So here's the hand goes numb. Floor plans for the basement. So here's where her body was found. And then, like I said, there was a bunch of, not a bunch, but there was a couple of footprints and I think a couple of handprints, but they've all been verified now because there was a palm print on the wine cellar door, because this is a wine cellar that her body was found in. And then the hobby room was right here, which I believe the train set was in, or the train set was in here. I'm not sure. I'd assume here. And, oh yeah, because this is crawl space. So yeah, the hobby room is right here. And then this is where the window, but then if we've seen the documentary, it would have been so hard to be able to squeeze through without disturbing that foliage, like the cobwebs and the spider webs. And then to come back out of it too without disturbing anything. And then I think you would have had to have footprints, because there's no sidewalk or anything, so there would have been all snow right here. So there would have had to been footprints walking away, if he was going to come out this way. Let me jump over to what they have here. LaDon, how would a piece of train track shock her? No, so with the train track, I don't know if instead of a stun gun being used, so Ramsey hit her over the head, and now she's kind of like unconscious, and he's worried about her, so he takes the train track, and he pokes her with it to see if she's still alive. And that's where, because these marks are found in a couple of spots of her body. There's one on her neck. So they think that he was poking her to see, hey, are you okay? Because the theory before was these marks came from a stun gun. But they tested that, and when you stun gun someone, you don't get these red dark marks. You get what looks like a sunburn, but not these deep red, marks. So hopefully I cleared that up. I don't know if maybe you were responding to somebody else. But, all right, so we'll go back to... So this is back to the Burke theory here. John Ramsey found the body in his home's basement. This is consistent with how a father would act in a cover-up. The old and the killer returns to the scene of the crime has some truth to it. A guilty person inserts themselves into investigation as much as possible. Yeah, that's another thing, is the way that he beelined it, after detective, said, hey, let's kind of search the house again. And then he just beelines it with Fleet, and they stumble on the body. And then she's apparently said that she had told him not to touch anything if you found anything. And it wouldn't make sense for the cover-up theory for him to contaminate the scene. Because I think that's one of the biggest mistakes of why this case hasn't been solved, is because John picked up the body and laid it down in a heavily trafficked area that people have been walking through. They've got their friends over, and I do say that Linda needs to hold some responsibility, but I don't think it's completely her fault. I think she was in a tough situation with so many people there. How would the track leave the marks like that? So, okay. So I think what you're not realizing, the tracks stick out. So you got the train tracks, right? Here, let me back it up here. Okay, so here you got these tracks. On the end of these, right? So right here, on the end of these are prongs that stick out about like a quarter, half an inch. This one doesn't have it. It's probably on this side. This is the connection. This is the female piece right here. The male piece is right here. They stick out. So it's like two little prongs, and they're metal. And they fit exactly the width of those two little dots that she had on her. And she had like at least two pair of them. So it looked like, he was poking his sister like, hey, you okay? I mean, it's not funny, but yeah, so hopefully that explains it. It's not like he whacked her, but yeah, it's got two prongs that stick out. Because that's how you connect them. So it's got little prongs that stick in. Some have three prongs, and then some just have the two on the outside here. And then you would connect them. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm sorry, guys, I didn't explain that well. I've had train sets when I was a kid, so I know exactly when they mentioned that. I know, I love train sets too. It totally made sense, because that was the biggest thing for me, was this whole thing with the stun gun. It just didn't make sense. But then when you could see, these are the exact width of the train track prongs right here. Exact. So... okay, so back to some of the points. John and Patsy Ramsey did not cooperate with police. That's another big thing I had with. They immediately hired a lawyer and were never completely forthcoming with investigators about what happened. Yeah, they did what? At least two live interviews, like, on like a CBS or something, I forget the channel, before they even went and got interrogated. They weren't officially interrogated until May 1st or something like that. That's like 4 months to solidify your story, if you're going with the theory of a cover-up. And I mean, nowadays, there's no way a family like that could get away with not talking to, unless they hired a lawyer. I mean, but still, you're going to be brought in that day. And this one talks about the ransom note. The note was written on a notepad with a pen from the Ramsey's house. After writing the note, the items were put away, which is interesting. Yeah. So if you write this ransom note, another thing with this ransom note is that when the person was done, they literally put them back to where they came from. So they put the Sharpie pen back in the little holster thing, and they put the pad back over here instead of just writing out the notes and pulling out the papers and setting them out. They literally it's like either this guy is the most smartest, most considerate criminal because he wants to make sure you get rest before you go get the ransom money. And he's going to make sure to put your pad and pen back. It just don't make sense for me. So now this is the thing that so the ransom note specified that no one should be contacted. Patsy called the police. A frantic mother warned that her missing daughter would be harmed. Let's see. If the plan was to kidnap JonBenet, collect the ransom money, why was she killed? If her death was accidental, why still leave the ransom note as extra evidence? Completely agree. Because if you did write that with your hand and you were ambidextrous, that's just more stuff that, for me. I doubt I was Burke. He was a child of 9. Okay, Amelia says she doesn't think it was Burke. Oh, I don't think Burke wrote the note. I think that Patsy wrote it myself. But Karen says we had an old from the 1940s big main controller on one shock anyone. I thought I'd have a listen to this again. Okay. So police found Burke's fingerprints on the bowl of pineapples. So, yeah, that's another thing is that they know that those 2 kids were up in the middle of the night on the kitchen counter. Pineapple was one of JonBenet's favorite snacks, and it was found in her stomach in the autopsy, meaning she ate some shortly after her death. Some believe Burke shared a midnight snack of pineapple with JonBenet before her death. JonBenet ate some of Burke's snack, leading to a temper tantrum that resulted in, And then it was a little interesting that he kind of tried to dodge this. The guys were trying to mention pineapple. And in this little interview here, Burke does kind of dodge the question.
Okay. What about Christmas Eve? When you were going up there, did you guys have a snack before you went to bed that night?
I forget.
What was JonBenet's favorite snack?
I don't think she had a snack. And time before bed.
Okay. Would she ever like a particular thing to eat during the day, for a snack?
Just whatever Mom had laid out. Because she always had laid out a snack for after school.
Okay.
So whatever she had ready, I could just eat.
And what would a typical snack be?
Pudding or
Okay, I'm going to pause it just so I can commentate over it, and then we'll finish it, just so I'm not stealing some of these clips. But in my opinion, he's dodging answering the question of pineapple. He's labeling everything else, but finally he's going to suggest it to him, and then he's going to say, oh, yeah, pineapple. So.
Like leftover pizza or something.
So would there ever be, it sounds like your mom was pretty nutritional,
She wasn't that curious.
Wasn't she? Some moms cut up apples.
Yeah.
What else would she do fruit-wise?
That's all I know. The pineapple.
Pineapple.
Yeah.
You mentioned that once before. Is that kind of a favorite
Yeah.
of the family?
It's really, like, really favorite thing.
Is that probably the most favorite?
Apples or pineapple. Probably the two.
Did you ever have?
Okay. So yeah, I thought that was a little kind of odd. That closed caption was, those subtitles were way off. Sorry, Chris. So, Patsy never admitted giving JonBenet pineapple. Okay. So one of the biggest pieces of evidence for the intruder theory is the existence of DNA, someone that's not in the Ramsey family, on JonBenet's underwear. We all shed DNA at all times within our skin cells. It can be deposited anywhere at any time for various reasons. Reasons that are benign. To clear somebody just on the premise of touch DNA, especially when you have a situation where the crime scene wasn't secure at the beginning, really is a stretch. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I like those closed captions. Yeah, sorry, Chris. I know, I started reading, I'm like, whoa, this is not what they're saying. Statistically, when a child is killed, he or she is most likely killed by someone in the immediate family. Yeah, the statistics are pretty high on that. Let's see. Yeah, this is another one. People also believe you can hear Burke's voice in the 911 call saying, "What did you find?" Now, to me, I don't think it matters what he says, but the fact that you can clearly hear a third person. You can make out John, you can clearly make out Patsy, but you could clearly hear a third voice. And it's, but yet he was supposed to be asleep. Contradicts their story. Amelia says, well, I didn't know his fingerprints were on the bowl of pineapple. Burke could have eaten earlier. But geez, it sure sounds suspicious. Yeah. Yeah, and then avoiding pineapple. True. Very true. Yeah. Yeah, it was weird. And then there's one more weird thing, because I'm sure we all know this interview. I mean, this was creepy. Am I the only one? Does he look like Elijah Wood, Frodo from Lord of the Rings? He kind of looks like Elijah Wood now. But the thing that I took away from this interview, and I'll play just a little bit of it because it is just really weird, the way he smiles. And I honestly, I think it's just a nervous smile. But a lot of people got creeped out about this. But there is something in this that really bothered me that he said that I think he's trying to cover for, that just goes into more of the theory of a cover-up. So I always thought it was weird. I'm like, why didn't John Ramsey just say, oh, I think I left one of the doors unlocked? Like, why didn't he say that early on to kind of like, assuming they're all covered up. I'm like, why didn't they just say that? Like, oh, I might have left the door unlocked. So they could have came in and out. We had no idea. But then you got, what, 20 years later? Was this a 20-year anniversary? Something like that. He says something in here that I'm like, oh, you little turkey. So here, I don't know if it says it in here or not.
Why can't...
So anyway, he mentions, oh, I feel bad because I might have left the front door unlocked. I'm like, what? Really? I don't know. That seems sketchy. You're going to leave that out all this time, and then now with this interview, you're going to say, oh, I think I might have left the front door unlocked.
Burke Ramsey stopped smiling while talking about the slaying of his sister, JonBenet.
Did you hit your sister over the head with a baseball bat or a flashlight?
Absolutely not.
He's looking down when he says it, too. Oh, I'm no expert, but look how he looks down on it when he says it, too. He looks down.
Baseball bat or a flashlight?
Absolutely not.
It's the first time Burke has spoken out about little JonBenet, and many who tuned into Dr. Phil's exclusive interview were kind of creeped out.
My dad just said she's in heaven now, and
He's looking down.
I was kind of like, how is that possible? Like,
Can he please stop smiling, went one tweet. Some even suggested that Burke's grinning was an indication that he had something to do with JonBenét's death, even though he was ruled out by law enforcement.
I look at this as one of the most disturbing interviews I've seen.
We asked behavior expert Dr. Lillian Glass for her analysis.
He's frightened, he's scared, he doesn't know what questions are going to come, and he doesn't know how to answer them.
Your mother comes in the room.
I remember her saying, "Where's my baby? Where's my baby?"
Now that is very telling. You see he has a genuine smile.
For any kid, this would be a terrifying question.
Exactly, and he's elated about it. Maybe he had a bad relationship with the mother. Maybe he didn't like the mother.
People are also pointing out that Burke constantly fidgets with his fingers.
When Burke's fidgeting with his hands, it's showing that he is nervous. The
Oh,
body
yeah.
doesn't lie, and it's leaking out some nervous energy, which is coming out through his hands.
He didn't grow up like a normal child because you open your front door at the end of the driveway, there's 50 reporters down there. He couldn't go to school like every other child. So he lived a siege mentality.
Dr. Phil told Inside Edition that Burke Ramsey is socially awkward. He lives in relative isolation, working from home as a software engineer.
It's as though he's not socialized. He doesn't.
Yeah, I wonder why they keep him away, so he doesn't spill the beans, in my opinion. He looks like Patsy. Yeah, I think he looks like Elijah Wood to me. Like here, when I saw this, because we hadn't seen him I hadn't seen him forever since he was a kid. And then when I saw this, I'm like, oh my gosh, he looks like Elijah Wood. Which is Frodo from Lord of the Rings. Chris says, nothing wrong with my son either. He just gets nervous. And the smile or even sharp giggle will escape. Yeah. All right, how's the quality of the stream going? It's not like buffering or anything, is it? Yeah, Amelia, I agree that the crime scene was completely contaminated. I mean, I think it's the biggest reason, and to me, in my theory, I think it was on purpose, for him to pick up the body, carry it upstairs, and put it down. Now, I'm going to play just a little bit of Linda Arndt's. He does look like I know, doesn't he? Elijah. Kind of, yeah, a little bit somewhere here. I mean, he's got that smile right here. Yeah, this right here, the kind of the smile. He's got the same smile. Yeah. Anyway. Let's see. Yeah. It's not right. Nope, not images. So used to going to images. I'm not going to play the whole thing. Streaming good? Okay, awesome. It's not buffering? Oh, it's not buffering. Okay, cool. Okay. I'm just going to play this. But this is what... just some of the things she says in this interview just stuck out so much to me. And I know some people think she's a weirdo. And she does. She's got some creepy... she's got some creepy eyes. But notice how much she looks up. Because, I'm no expert in behavior analysis. But... we all know that looking up is recalling memories, and looking down, you're trying to, make up something. I mean, just look how much she's just always pulling information from her head here. And then there's a few things that she says that just stick out to me. Oops. Let's see. Let's just start it here.
Call at 6:30 in the morning from her sergeant.
He said there's been a kidnapping. It involves a 6-year-old girl.
Just always looking
there was
up.
a ransom
Always
note,
looking
a
up.
2.5-page ransom note. And according to the ransom note, there was going to be a phone call from the author, and they were supposed to call between 8 and 10 a.m. So I was supposed to get to the house for purposes of monitoring the phone call.
8:10 a.m., Arndt arrived at the Ramsey home and meets John Ramsey for the first time.
How did he strike you?
Cordial.
Cordial?
Mm-hmm.
Upset?
Cordial.
Distraught?
Cordial.
Did it strike you at all that that was behavior that was unusual for somebody whose child was just kidnapped?
It's been my experience that people respond to trauma in different ways. So if someone has a response that is different from mine, I don't put judgment to it. I'll just note it.
And that is what she says she did all morning, make mental notes of all things curious, including, she says, the fact that Mr. and Mrs. Ramsey remained apart in separate rooms for most of the day. That at one point, she says John Ramsey took time out in the middle of the crisis to read his mail.
I remember seeing John in the kitchen, looking through his mail, and I made a note that he was looking at his mail, and then I wondered, where did your mail come from?
Isn't it possible maybe he was opening the mail looking for a clue from the kidnapper?
I don't know. And I don't speculate.
Okay, so I'm not going to go through all this, but I'm just going to go to two major points. Is when she talks about the interaction with John, because I think she saw something, or she put all these, like I said, she was just observing everything that was going on, and I believe her. I think she's telling the truth, and this part just absolutely terrifies me.
Ramsey and his friend Fleet White to search the house again, top to bottom, looking for anything out of place. She says she gave them specific instructions not to touch anything. She says John Ramsey headed straight to the basement. She heard Fleet White scream for an ambulance, and then a chilling discovery. For Arndt, the pieces of the puzzle fell into place.
And I see John Ramsey carrying JonBenet up the last 3 steps from the basement. And my mind exploded. And everything that I had noted that morning that stuck out instantly made sense. And JonBenet was clearly dead. Then she's been dead for a while. I ordered him to put JonBenet down. I knelt next to her and I leaned down to her face. And John leaned down opposite me. And his face was just inches from mine. And we had a nonverbal exchange that I will never forget.
So I think right here, she saw something. There's something that they forgot to cover up. I had no idea. I think that, maybe something on the body, maybe something on him, but then to go on to what she's going to say next, and the way she says it, just look at her eyes. Either she's the best actor or, she was completely terrified for her life for what she saw.
And he asked if she was dead. And I said, yes, she's dead. And I told him to go back to the room and to dial 911. And as we looked at each other, I remember, and I wore a shoulder holster, tucking my gun right next to me and consciously counting, I've got 18 bullets.
Why did you do that?
Because I didn't know if we'd all be alive when people showed up.
Oh, that gives you chills to hear that. How often do you hear an interview like that? Something, for her to say that, just makes you wonder, what did she see that she's counting the bullets in her, oh my gosh. It gives me chills. Just that she's, I don't know, it's wild. We'll just play just a little bit more here.
That everything made sense in that instance. And I knew what happened.
Do you think your fear was well-founded?
You bet I do. There's no doubt in my mind.
To this day?
Never wavered.
You were afraid because you thought the killer was still in the house.
I knew it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
1:10 p.m. Detective Arndt moved JonBenét's body from the...
I mean, that's... Oof. I said, that watching that gives me chills every time. Just... I would love to interview her. God, I would love to know what she says now. The thing that sucks is everybody, you know, I don't know much about gag orders, but, you know, it'd be so nice to hear from the family friends. You would think, you know, if they would step up, you know, to either to excuse the Ramseys or to say, hey, look, you know what, this is what happened. They brought us over. They said, oh, we had this bad accident and, you know, we didn't know what to do. And so then we had to keep our mouths shut because now we're staying under gag orders and they're our best friends. But imagine the lives that everybody that knew the Ramseys, I mean, the hell that they have to go through now, have been through for the last 25 years because they knew the Ramseys. I mean, it's terrible. And just how they've gotten someone else's DNA on that child when you find your child and they're gone. Of course, you're going to pick your child up and get them out of the basement. Yeah. Tracy says she was new in her career. They kind of threw her under the bus by not backing her up. That's how I felt about it. I mean, that's just a strange situation to walk into. I feel like what she did is she observed. Too bad, from what she says she told John not to touch anything if you find anything. And she wanted to keep him. As a matter of fact, that was not even her idea. Her supervisor even admits to telling, because she had called her supervisor and, you know, because she kept calling like, hey, where's my backup? You know, I need help. And the supervisor even said, hey, to keep them busy, why don't you go have you and John or whatever search the rooms. So that was not even her idea to go, you know, look and have John. So, because he admits that in the 2016 documentary. So, like I said, yeah, I feel like she got a lot of blame that she, you know, she's just put in a tough situation. But her interview, I mean, it just really sticks out to me. The rookies are always the fall guys when mistakes are made. Yeah, that's kind of true. What's up with Fleet? Yeah, I don't know what's up with Fleet and them. I know that they tried to talk with the Fleets in the documentary, and they wouldn't go on camera. So, So, how long have we been going on for? Oh my gosh, this has been going on for a while. I can't believe how fast this stream's been going by. Appreciate you guys coming in. We've been going on for... Okay. Oh, thank you, Tracy. Thank you so much. I'll touch on this DNA. So, just in case you guys are curious, the DNA that's that they still have, that, you know, if you're supporting the intruder theory or, you know, a different suspect other than a cover up, apparently there's some kind of blood stain or a blood drop. I mean, I think it's minute. I mean, you can't even see it anywhere. I don't know where it is exactly on this, but it's got to be minute. And then apparently there is two spots. Or, as a matter of fact, I think they might have cut it out right here. You can see where they put an arrow. It looks like they cut this fiber out to test it. So I think there's one on here and then there's one on here, but they're of two different people. So I personally think there was a foreign object used somewhere in the house or something. And I can't go into much more detail than that just because of the area. But that's my opinion on that. But, so, yeah, before we go, so yeah, Anybody already hit New Year? Because I know some people are in different countries. Yes, I'll put him up. Let me see if there's anybody else that's gone missing before you guys leave here. Let's see. Yeah, this went way fast. This was a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys being respectful in the comments. I mean, thank you guys so much for being respectful. I know it's got to be hard, especially if I've got my theory and you're on the other side of things. I can understand that's why I tried to kind of cover both sides a little bit. Tracy says, not there yet, but wanted to wish everyone great health and wealth. Thank you, Tracy. 9:45 a.m. in Australia. So it's already New Year. Nice. Oh, what's going on? Wait a minute. Where are we at? Oh, yeah, rip on Betty White. Oh, human trafficking arrest. Oh, that's in Miami Springs, but that's always good. So let's see, who's this? Did they have a housekeeper now? They had a housekeeper, but I don't know much about her. Yeah, you guys were awesome in the chat. I really appreciate that. Okay, I was just trying to find some information about her, but... Information. I was going to find the poster real quick of her. No Amber Alert. Man abducts child. Oh, that's a video, though. I can't play the video. Okay, here we go. June 15th. Oh, that was a while ago. Madison. Oh, I've covered her too. Murray. She was last seen in Fort Collins, Colorado. Okay. Maybe be on the lookout for her. She's still missing. She has a heart condition. Oh, that's bad. Lady M says it's 12:44 p.m. here in Hawaii. Nice. Oops, I don't want to close that. So yeah, I think that'll do it for today, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and being so awesome in the comments. Oh my gosh, you guys are so awesome. John Brady, there's no reason to doubt the honesty and professionalism of Linda Art. That's how I feel, John. I always watch the fireworks going off in each country as they hit New Year's. Oh, that sounds fun. Wendy says, please look into the Ketty Cabin murders. Okay, I think I know what you're talking about, but I'll look into that. Yeah, Happy New Year's, everybody. Thank you, Corte. Courtney? Cortre? God, I can't read. Cassie Sheets was found. Yeah, her remains were found, unfortunately. Yeah, I kind of went over that at the beginning. That's kind of sad. Because I did cover her. Happy New Year, Amelia. New Jersey, not New Year just yet. Yep, got a little bit ways to go. Thank you, Margaret. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for coming in. Yes, thank you, Wendy. Yeah, you guys were awesome. All right, that'll do it, guys. Love you guys.